Peace, peace, peace. Hope everybody's doing well. Today's December 13th, 2020. We're coming to the closing of the year. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Today's topic will be, what are you, the high observer or are you a low observer? What is the difference? A high observer is he or she who controls everything that he or she sees and hears. The low observer is controlled by everything he or she sees or hears. You know, in the 5% of the world, the low observer would kind of be the 85%, right? The media, the mass media perception, the theological influence, right? In other words, the high observer is able to critically think about all the data and information that is coming down the pipe and using its perceptual instruments as a filter to build or destroy with the information that's coming down the pipe, right? And so all information is either going to help you, hurt you, or kill you. You can only do three things. You know, I told my son this in the last video, right? So being able to take this information and transmute it and be an alchemist with it, right? And being able to transform it and not let it transform you necessarily. I am very good at taking any data or information, whether it's any form of literature, whether it's music, the lyricism in music, whether it's the book of experience that I'm reading, the environment around me, and the expression of all the different things, people, things, inanimate objects, animate objects. You have to be able to be a high observer. You have to be able to control what it is that you're taking in and not let it control you. That's a low observer, is to be controlled by that data and information. And knowing that it can help you, hurt you, or kill you. Now, which one would you say you are? I always talk about critical thinking reigns supreme. Even right now in this COVID era, right? This 2020 year, to be able to take is so much information coming down the pipe. How do you decipher reality from lies? I always say, don't seek the truth. The truth has been set up as the lies. Seek reality, and in reality, you'll find a rubric of truth in reality. How Tyson said it, he said, everybody got a plan till they get hit. Well, I say everybody has an opinion and a belief until real time steps in the room and hits it. I'm juxtaposing it kind of like with Tyson's theory. So to be able to take this data and information, to sift through it, to build or destroy with it, to see where this data and information falls in the ley lines of real time, and then be able to sort it out and don't throw the whole baby out with the bathwater. Even if there are lies in there, learn to extrapolate the truth and see where the truth leads you in your journey, because you are the subject and everything is subjective to you in this objective reality, space-time reality that we're in. So to be a high observer, right, is to be able to take any data and information, being able to look at ants crawling on the floor and the colony and how they're transporting food into the hole in the ground. Just that science alone is a deep experience. It's a deep observation, right? To be a high observer in observational mode and to be able to look at something as simple as that. It may look simple to the average person, but it's deep. The animals are here in order to teach you about your animal nature, because your animal nature precedes the upright side of you, right? So the upright side of you is your divine side. It's your righteous side. But it's very hard when this vehicle that you're in, this avatar, is the expression of it is naturally the first rule of nature is to survive, right? And to take care of self first. Self-preservation, first law of nature. So to understand that, and to understand the data of information as it comes down the pipe, from wherever, from a book, from the literature, from music, to have a keen ear on how to listen. My enlightened Saif Dread taught me how to listen to music, right? But even before him, my Uncle Harry and my father was training my ear with Rasta music on how to properly listen to certain songs and extrapolate the meaning from that song. If you don't understand what they're saying, go find a body of literature. At that time, there was no internet, so you had to get an Encyclopedia Britannica, and you had to go in it, or you had to go sit down in the library, or you had to go to 125th Street or Mermaid Avenue in Coney Island, or on Utica Avenue in East Flatbush, where, you know, my two different hoods, and they would have book stands out there, and you would cop a book from there, and you would see which book is pertaining to the lyricism that you just heard. How does this pertain to real time? How do I use this? Where does it apply? This is high observation. I'm controlling the data and information. I'm not letting the data and information control me. And then I'm taking that data and information and seeing where it falls in real time. How do I use this? Where does it apply? How much of it is truth and how much of it is lies? You know, because, you know, a lie, truth has to have lies surrounding it. You understand? Because they go hand in hand. So you can't have one without the other. Or you can flip it the other way and you could say, well, lies have to be surrounded by truth because the truth looks appealing. But at the center of it is a lie. Now, it depends on how you decipher it because you're the observer. So no matter which way, whether it's the truth in the middle and the lie surrounding it, or the lie in the middle and the truth surrounding it, it doesn't matter. It's really on the observer and how you break it down, how you decipher it. This is high observation, right? Versus low observation. I want to control the data and information and then take that because I know it can help me, hurt me, or kill me. Now, I want it to help me, and I want it to help me advance as far as my development as the observer, as I'm using this mirror to discover who I am. It's a feedback mechanism in order for me to understand who I am through something other than me to know about me, through metrics and measurements, through distance. And I'm using these things as a catalyst, but you have to have high observation to be able to do that. And high observation is also cloaked in critical thinking reigns supreme. So that is a deep science that is not that easy to attain, and it's easier said than done, but it can be done with proper practice to be able to break down words as well, the words that you use out of your mouth linguistically, and break down the words to see, okay, my brother Rel told me one time about wardrobe, and your appearance to the public is always a war, right? And the robes that you wear, you're in the middle of a war as far as your presentation. Because if your presentation isn't right and your pitch and cadence isn't right, people are listening to how your pitch and cadence sound. You could be talking about M&Ms, but if you're appealing to the masses when they hear you and when they see you and how you dress, that's a war in itself, just to get past how they're viewing the perception of the material stuff that you have on. And the robes are doing that. So that's why it's called a wardrobe, right? You take the D out, you get war and robe, but they put a D in the middle of it. How do you break down words like that? How do you understand etymon like that? That's also high observation. Controlling the data and information, controlling the words, the linguistics that you use as a conduit to, or off-ramp to get to reality, as a GPS to get to reality. How good are you at that, right? So you can use various different schools of thought. You can even have a belief system, right? But at the end of the day, are you basing it on high observation? Because the information is just a catalyst to get you to where you need to be of self-discovery. I think that's one of the most imperative things. So when I listen to lyricism, right, I can listen to Nas is my favorite artist of all time. So he said in Nas's Like, I want to say it was 1996, he said, street scriptures for lost souls in the crossroads, for the corner thug hustling for cars that cause dough. So the scriptures are in the lyricism, right? Script is something that is written, an event that's written. The URE is the suffix at the end. But most people use scripture as a holy book, biblical, right? Any one of the Old Testament and New Testament compiled together. the 64 books versus the 80, right? The 14 books got taken out, the Apocrypha, in I want to say 1683, and 1611 was the King James Version. So how do you understand all those different things to be able to break it down? Street scriptures for lost souls in the crossroad. How do you use that? And data and information from the Bible, and data and information from the Quran, and data and information from the Book of the Dead, and compile it all together and be able to put that into a practice. And some people say, well, you can't do that, but I've done it all my life, right? Because this is high observation. I control the information. The information doesn't control me, right? The master teacher, with all due respectfully, you always give respect. But at the end of the day, the master teacher is an arrow pointing in a direction to get you to the point where you learn to think for yourself. It's about self-discovery. It's about self-preservation. Everything is personal. That's why it's personal health. It's personal finances, right? It's personal thinking. It's personal critical thinking. It's self-defense, personal. Everything is personal to the subject on a subjective manner as he deals with the objective reality, or she deals with the objective reality. Either way you want to flip it, it's still high observation. In my estimation, I see most people are low observers. And it doesn't matter the age bracket that you're talking about. Just watch people, you know. Shout out to my brother Carl that came by yesterday. We had a very good discussion. And he's almost 60. And I told him, I said, brother, I have so much respect for you because we were having a discussion about the plight of our people, high observation conversation, right? And we're going through different dates and events and what led us to where we are right now, what led us to our downfall. And this brother was not only able to go toe to toe with me, but he's telling me about stuff because he's older than me, which is what I'm looking for. A lot of elders, quote unquote, a lot of older people, when you talk with them, they don't really have that historical toe-to-toe thing where they can sit you down and tell you this happened in 1930, and then it led to what happened in 1942, and then it happened in 1948, right? Right after the close of World War II. And then this happened in the 50s and the 60s and the Immigration Act in 1965, right? Understand the Welfare Act in 1965, all these different things. So important to know these dates and how they chronologically, the sequence of it led up to where we are right now. This is high observation reigns supreme. This is critical thinking reigns supreme, like you see back there. So it's very important. I want to be like him when I'm almost 60 years old, if I reach that in this physical realm, in this space-time reality that I'm in. It's very imperative. And it was a pleasure to be able to talk with him. It's not the first time, but we really went in about this pandemic/plandemic. Who are the players involved? What do we see happening in 2021, 2022? What is on the horizon that's coming versus what we're being told in the media? What kind of clairvoyance do you have? How far ahead do you see this thing happening? How big is the wealth gap going to increase as this thing keeps going? Mom and pop shops are being destroyed. In my estimation, there's only going to be three retailers. Amazon, Walmart, Target, everybody else going to be destroyed. Like literally. And this is not by accident. So, this is a high observation. So going back to the top of the conversation, are you a high observer or are you a low observer? Which one? And you have to be honest with yourself, right? Do you control the data and information that comes in to your sphere of awareness? Or does the information that come in control you? Which one? And these are things that I implore you to do. It's very important. I do it with my son. I do it with a lot of brothers that I mentor. Shout out to all of them. They make me very proud because, at the end of the day, all I can do is help you discover certain things within yourself. But at the end of the day, you're the one doing the work. The legwork is done by you. It's not done by me because it's personal, it's subjective, right? So with that being said, I hope you got something out of this conversation, the high observer versus the low observer. So with all that being said, We're going to close out here. Let your last endeavor be your best endeavor. I repeat, let your last endeavor be your best endeavor. Salute.